there sometimes becomes a moment when you suddenly realise everything you've worked towards and built inside the system is everything you don't want. You have an urge, desire, need to change it all, burn it all to the ground, and dance in the ashes of what was. And then the grief of acknowledging life will always require digging deep and choosing yourself again, above all else, to model this for those around you. Piece by piece, your life is rebuilt on the foundations of the ideas you had when you danced, cried, lost yourself in the ashes. You continue to move forward and look back at the journey just to hear, realising, oh yeah, it was worth the pain, discomfort and grief. You realise that in fact, those who choose liberation from the ignorance of the lack of joy in their lives will be rewarded. It's just that it took all of you to get here, and here is just here. There's always a you over there. So for a time you can rest your weary bones in this moment, wherever this moment has led you, and secretly whisper that you've, been doing okay. This is life. Life will make you work for the liberation, because that journey will feel deeper than a journey where you remained in what was. Sometimes you just have to answer the heart's call and jump into the feather bed, however far down that feather bed is. That's what this van life is for us. It's this finding that joy, those moments of joy, the more we unfurl into it all. Just realising the amount that it took for us to get to this point has been quite phenomenal. I mean, I've seen obviously for some people coming to Morocco is really not a massive thing. They come to Morocco every year, or you've had people coming for 6 years and they find it just generally part and parcel of their lives. But very rarely do you find people that have sold all their belongings to live primarily in the van. This is just something, simply a journey that they're on, because that's part and parcel of almost like a break, a holiday, something they work towards, and then they come and then they leave and then they go back to their lives. Whereas this is actually our whole life, and I think there's something quite different about that. It's this processing all the time of the grief of what was to land into this as our life, and being in that freedom of choice, I think, can come with quite a lot of overwhelm at times, but also this knowledge that there will be choice. That choice is joyful. We went into Marrakesh, and I didn't really want to be in Marrakesh, but it's the way down. You basically hit Marrakesh, and then that's when you have a choice. So do you go to the coast? Do you go to the Atlas Mountains? Or do you just keep going down towards the bottom of the coast rather than going to Agadir? We were in this moment. There was this moment in time, which I always love, when those universal moments deliver. And I asked a French couple about their buggy. Do they go to the dunes? We proceeded to just sort of, with very much broken English French, chat around the journey that they went. And I looked at the weather in Agadir and I was like, the weather is still not it. I still want sunshine. And here is sunshine. I'm going to go across the Atlas Mountains. I had no idea when we were going to be driving it that we would be literally at the top of the Atlas Mountain. Most remote villages reminding you of the bare minimum. And I said to Ali, knowing that we've sold everything and we're living simply in the van is the answer for me right now, because when I see these villages where these people are living so simply, I don't want to ever go back to the complicated life that we had. I want this level of simplicity, not necessarily in the middle of the Atlas Mountains, but I want that simplicity. Driving in the middle of the Atlas Mountains, it was just the most beautiful 2 days. There was this moment where we were parked up, remote parking, which we had kind of said we wouldn't do in Morocco, but it just sort of meant that we had to do it this way because it was getting dark. So we parked up, and in the morning I was sitting in the van and suddenly surrounded by goats, surrounded by loads of goats. And there was this farmer, and he comes to us and he says, any pantalon, any pantalon? And he had a hole in his knee and he was wearing extra trousers underneath, and we didn't have any spare. So next time I really would like to remember to bring a few bits of spare clothing in case this happens. Some people will argue and say, don't give freebies out, like this isn't what tourism in Morocco is about. When I said to another guy afterwards in Morocco that the farmer had asked for pantalon, and next time I would love to make sure that I bring some, he was like so grateful for me even thinking of that. There's definitely something in it. Farmer living in the middle of the Atlas Mountains, there's literally nothing there for miles around because we'd driven it, there was literally no villages. Yeah, there was that moment of just pure joy and simplicity, and the reminder of just everything that we'd worked towards in this complicated Western world that we exist in. And then you just visit this humbling experience, these humbled people who live with very little. And that for me is the core reminder of why we're doing what we're doing. It's felt many times that this was made more complicated because we sold everything, but actually over time the simplicity will come. And it felt like in that moment in the Atlas Mountains where simplicity lived, this was all meant to be, and that this is what the journey is. Definitely challenging, but it's definitely worth it. And it was that moment of like, exhale, this is it, this is why we're doing what we're doing. I'm looking forward to finding more moments like that where there is that freedom from the binds that were, and still knowing that nobody has the answers moving forward. I still find those moments of frustration and a challenge, but I have to remind myself that those would exist if we were in the house and in the situation that we were in. The children obviously are part of this journey. When we were in that free park up and there was just like the goats and then the farmer and then like the snow and then like this river, they were just playing for hours in that morning. It got to like midday and we hadn't left, and we were like, oh, we better leave now. My children wouldn't be outside. I wouldn't be in that freedom. I wouldn't be in that space. I wouldn't be in that exhale either, even though I'm sure that they'll look back on this with completely different view to maybe what I've had or what Ali has had. It would be interesting to hear their viewpoint in years to come. It's the itch. It's that we need to do this. That comes with the challenge, that then comes with the feather bed. And the feather bed is sometimes really low down, which is what it has felt at times with this. But when it catches you, when you're sitting in the middle of the Atlas Mountains surrounded by goats and a farmer asking simply for some pantalon, oh, this is the journey,